Today I've got Garrett from Man Made Mead on to try a Pyment that I made years ago. You might have seen this on one of my videos where I was showing you how to stop a fermentation. So rather than back sweetening, we were basically stalling it out and trying to preserve some of those natural sugars from the honey. And things worked pretty well, but I wanted to get some feedback from an actual mead maker because as you know very well, mead is a very side thing. For me, wine is the primary thing. I'll give a little bit of information about the mead though. Or the Pyment, let's call it. So Pyment is a wine and mead blend, is that right? Am I saying that right?
Yep.
So you can either ferment it, co-ferment it, or in this case I separately fermented and then blended together to get the appropriate blend that I thought tasted right. It's got a little bit of residual sugar. Can't remember exactly. I want to say it's a couple percent residual sugar. It's from Traminette grapes. So Traminette is a hybrid grape. The parent is Gewürztraminer and some grape you've never heard of that's a bunch of numbers. There's a massive storm going on outside, so we'll see how that goes. But Traminette's very floral. It's kind of in that honey kind of family. It makes, I think, a good pairing for Pyment,
Yeah, it looks good. That's a good looking mead, as most people would refer to it as. But people get defensive of that. They get defensive of, no, it is mead because it's mostly this. But this is a Pyment. It smells great.
So as a winemaker, I kind of made it to drink like a white wine.
Yeah.
That kind of has a lot of like notes.
It does have a lot of honeysuckle, kind of like a rich, almost like a tropical, not like a dark tropically pithy note. Now I'm pulling things.
Yeah, and some of that could be the Traminette. So the Traminette naturally has a lot of those honeysuckle notes.
Yeah.
It can also get this kind of tropical orange zest. The yeast that I used for this is it's like a kind of exotic yeast. It's called Renaissance Fresco, which is incapable of producing hydrogen sulfide, so you can push the temperature really, really cold during fermentation.
Interesting.
And because it's so cold, it kind of creates a lot more esters than it otherwise would create, and it also retains those esters because you're trapping them, in that cold fermentation.
Right. Interesting.
So that's where a lot of that tropical stuff is probably going to come from as well.
It smells wonderful.
Good. I'm always nervous to send a wine in.
It did get a little warm.
90 degrees out.
Yeah, it got a little warm in transit because I picked up the bottle. I was like, uh-oh. But no, it smells great. I'm going for it. It's deceiving. The nose makes it feel like it's going to be sweet because it has all those honey notes and things. But it does have a more dry profile, which is delightful, though.
Yeah, so even these Traminettes, if I ferment them or serve them dry, they smell so fruity and citrusy that it kind of even tricks you into thinking it's sweeter than it is, even when you taste it sometimes.
Right. This has so much of that floral profile on the actual palate, which is really interesting and really continues to highlight, of course, that mead profile that we want there without sweetness, which is something that's impressive because a lot of people will get a mead profile with just a, very sweet mead. And this is retaining so much honey character without that, which is fun.
Yeah, what I found with mead, and I'm not by no means very experienced in mead, but if I try to make a mead by itself, I struggle to get that mouthfeel that I want. Like it tastes thin to me unless I sweeten it quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I try to add tannin, I try to build it up. But when I blend with a wine, I kind of lean on the wine a little bit to give you that texture that you're looking for.
What's the age on this?
This is 2021.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So
Man,
it's got a couple years on it. Yeah.
I sent you all this young stuff, and you've been nice to send me the
well, hey, I'll just
age
let it all
things.
sit, and we'll just do our video in a couple
Yeah,
years.
Seriously though, man. No, this is fantastic. I really love how well you've retained honey character within this, and the wine side is also nice because it's got some acidity, it's got some bite, but it's not so aggressive that it's like that mouth-watering is not killing me. And sometimes when I drink wines that are high acid and I'm just like, my mouth is just like, okay, what's going on, man? Like trying to flush out that acid. It gets to be overwhelming, but this is like a nice smoothness between the two. You've done a fantastic job. I love this.
Thanks. I appreciate that from a professional home mead maker. Do you have any tips for our, my wine audience? Mm-hmm. If there's a couple tips for mead to try to help make it like with wine, sometimes you get good red grapes. They almost make themselves, right?
Yeah.
If you get the perfect grapes. But with mead, there's a lot more going on. Like, what are a couple things that are huge that you would say you've learned along the way to kind of take it from kind of amateur level to award-winning stuff?
So it's easier to make fruited meads because you have something to like lean on. So if you're wanting to make something that's surefire going to be good, do something fruity, like a blueberry mead or a apple mead or whatever, because you can have multiple things. I would not recommend anyone who's getting into the hobby to say, I'm going to make the world's best traditional, which is only honey, mead, because that's the hardest thing to make really well, because it's just so dependent on honey, where you got it, how well you fermented, your yeast.
And at the end of the day, the honey is kind of just sugar, right? Like, you're making essentially a wine from a certain kind of sugar. Mm-hmm. And where do you get the rest of the body from,
Right. Well, it is sugar, but it's also all the floral values that you're getting, like just side by siding. I wish I had sent you a couple different traditionals because it's fascinating the differences between a sweet clover traditional mead, which has some natural cinnamon taste to it, to here's a Florida orange blossom. And you have these just ginormous changes. To answer your question, though, the body is gone a lot of the time because of honey not really having a lot of things there, unless you're really making a high ABV mead. If you're making something that's 12, 13%.
So the sweetness of the ethanol basically is giving you that body.
Yes.
Yep. So the honey I used for this particular mead was a spring honey from northern Ohio. I couldn't tell you exactly what, flowers it was, the bees were eating, but I do hear what you're saying. There were some other later season honeys that were, I think, like buckwheat and stuff like that, where it was super, super dark honey. And the mead that I made from that was like wildly different. And I would say much harder to work with, like I think to make like a pairing like this with a kind of delicate white wine just wasn't going to happen with that, that buckwheat honey.
Yeah. I'm laughing because that's true. Buckwheat is its own beast, and it's just got so much flavor, which is really cool, but also overpowering. And there are a lot of honeys that are like that are super cool, but you have to use them in so specific circumstances or in small amounts that it's just wow. I've got buckwheat honey that I bought 4 years ago. I bought 30 pounds of it thinking I was going to burn through it pretty quick, and I still have buckwheat honey because it's so strong, and I haven't used it. So it's a lot. I understand.
Yep. Yeah, I tried to, use cinnamon and spices with it. And the meads that I made with those were fine, but they didn't necessarily meet my threshold. Obviously, we have a lot of things we can drink here.
Yeah.
So if it's not, like, perfect, I hesitate to want to pull it out very often.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, this is fantastic. I am very impressed, especially with the amount of mead characteristics you've kept in here. It's a great showing of mead and just wine. I would highly recommend, if you can, send it to a comp, because I think it'd do really well in the Pyment category.
Yeah, cool. Well, I appreciate it, Garrett. If you guys want to learn more about mead making, the home winemaking channel might not be the exact right place, but you should check out Man Made Mead, and you can certainly learn a lot from Garrett over there.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for joining.
Cheers.